Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And Golly, and Reigns, and a goal! And they have done it! Oh, and driven in! And number 11, Matthew Hanlon, followed that in.
Wilson will strike it! And it's gone all the way through! Oh, there you go! Not the cleanest of contacts, but Louis John scores for a third game running.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago.
But the whistle goes now. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to the Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the midweek treat. I've got the title right for the first time in ages, but on that, joining me is Andy Kay, who's come up with another suggestion. Hello, Andy. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you doing?
Not bad, not bad. And also we've got Josh, who is my nephew. So nepotism, I don't care. It's my nephew. Hello, Josh. Josh is struggling to hear me. He'll come in and say hello in a minute when he's ready. So Andy, let's start with your controversial idea. It's not controversial, it's just an idea. But got to whip up something somewhere. So I saw your suggestion, but go on, what was the suggestion?
Suggestion is midweek social rather than midweek treat.
The midweek social.
Yeah.
Well, that would imply that I'm social, but other than that...
You are, of course.
I actually had a work meeting today, and two of the guys who've come to matches, they were obviously talking about the Pizza Hut Cup and everything. I'm like saying to maybe if we get to Wembley, everyone wants to come. And I said, it's all right, don't worry, I'll talk to you at football. I hardly talk to everyone else. And the two fellas just started wetting themselves laughing, going, you talk to loads of people. You keep saying you don't talk to anyone. And you talk to everyone. I'm like, okay, fair enough. But I tend not to show. So anyway, what we'll do is I'll get a little Twitter poll going, and we'll put up there the midweek treat, which kind of rhymes, or the midweek social. And we can take everyone's votes. And while you're there, you can also leave your comments about the intro music, because as I said, I'm waiting for a little bit of feedback on the intro music for the fellow who did it for me. I think it's definitely growing on me. Josh is struggling for sound. This is awesome for an audio podcast. Josh is struggling for sound. So Andy, we'll just buffer for a little bit while he's getting on here. I've asked you various different questions on the few times you've been on, but give us some of your highlight memories. What's some of your top moments as Sutton fan? Let's really struggle and put it as a top three.
What, this season or
whenever you like? Whenever you like.
Okay, if we're looking at I think, to be honest, I've probably got 3 or 4 of all times. They are in chronological order, I would say. Coventry, Wickham away in the FA Trophy. There's a frog there. That's completely thrown me now. Wickham away in the FA Trophy in '93. AFC Wimbledon replay 2017, and beating Hartlepool. They're the 4. They're the 4 big ones, but kind of like just ducking underneath these kind of Bohemians are in there. Cardiff at the start of this season. So there's plenty in there. But I think I would actually struggle to pick 3 out of those 4.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's a difficult one. I hate people when they ask that question, actually, because it's what's in my mind at this moment in time. Yeah. And you've mentioned a few games there that I'm like, oh, yeah. But then there's other games I'll be like, no, I love that one as well. So it's a really difficult one. Josh, are you with us? Can you hear us? Yeah, oh, no. We can't hear you.
Do you want to try it without headphones?
Yeah, try the headphones and see what the feedback's like without that. Take the headphones off and see if it is as bad as I thought it was.
Is that better?
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's just whether I can hear myself on you as well. No, it's not as bad as I thought it was. It's certainly better than that other noise.
Apologies.
So, that's all right. So, Joshy, Josh, sorry, shouldn't call you the name I call you, Josh, big man. Tell us a bit about you and Sutton United. I know I know it, but there'll be people listening that don't know it.
I've been coming since, quite young. You were taking me with Lottie. It's quite nice. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, I think I kept coming a little bit more. Seeing the team, National League, FA Cup run, Leeds match, Wimbledon, Dartford. Remember the Dartford game, travelling away. I only saw a handful of people, we were real FA Cup, run, and the Arsenal game, Leeds, all of that. So around that time, and came back midweek to yesterday to watch the game, and great game. I loved it. I love seeing the difference between the team I saw a few years ago and so now getting promoted to League Two. I've seen the performance quality of the players, new players, some I remembered, and yeah, it was great. And also the new facilities and how the ground is looking. It looks really nice.
Okay. People know me. You can be honest, Josh. The reason Josh kind of stopped coming is he fell out of the period of teenager tickets. So it was costing me a lot more money. So I was like, yeah, not doing this anymore. Tight. I'm not just mean Uncle Mike, I'm tight Uncle Mike as well. And yeah, Josh got dragged along yesterday because I was again lucky enough to get one of the free tickets. And it was a toasty warm evening, wasn't it, guys?
I've still got the double socks on. It's freezing. It was so cold. So cold.
I think I saw a tweet from Colchester Police who said this was the coldest match they'd ever remember going to. And I was like, that's got to be exaggeration, surely. That can't be right. It was a bitter one.
Yeah.
But on the match itself, what were your thoughts, Andy? How do you... I mean, by the way, I predicted the score right, so
that's good.
I'm just going to drop that in there. I got it as 2-1. So...
it was, to be honest, it was better than the Stevenage match in the last round, for sure. Bearing in mind the kind of the situation in terms of the thinness of the squad at the moment as well, I actually thought it was quite energetic. Certainly, I would say even better than Saturday's game. Saturday, Sutton were a side that looked like they hadn't played for 2 weeks. You could see that. Today or last night, it was definitely a better quality of football going on. So yeah, just thinking 110 grand in the bank now. Apart from that FA Cup run, I don't know when we've got that much money in a cup competition in 20 odd years or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's and I've said this to a few different people that I think it's quite fun. I don't know if other fans do this, but Sutton fans knowing that this is how much money this is worth to us, and it's been really, really important to us that this is the money we're going to get from this. It's like, are we a bunch of weirdos, or does everyone do this?
What I see with that is actually Sutton fans do it and talk about it, but other fans don't necessarily talk about it as much, but their local press does. So if you go to like the Hartlepool Informer or whatever it is, they will talk about the prize money. But because we don't have that local press here, we have to talk about it instead.
I suppose, yeah. But yeah, got the job done. There's another one of those into the next round. Who impressed you? Who's your pod player of the day?
Oh, Ben White, without a doubt. Okay. He had a point to prove yesterday. I mean, obviously he played against a club that let him go as well. He's an ex-Colchester player. And also he's kind of saying, well, actually, hello, boss, I'm here. I'm also a left back as well as Rob Milson, but Rob's been playing great. So I think he did himself a lot of favours yesterday in putting himself kind of on display. And he's a good little player, and he was just running his socks off. He did he tried to do a Will Randall tribute act by running the entire length of the pitch and trying to score. Didn't quite make it, but he was pretty nippy.
Well, I said just a few minutes before he had that shot, there was another occasion where he did almost the same run, and he was coming into the box, and I said to Josh, hit it. You've got nothing to lose here, just hit it. And he didn't. And I was like, he should have just shot, because no one's going to expect Ben White to maraud forward and score. And then he did it a few minutes later, and he bloody did. Josh, who impressed you?
Apologies not knowing the name, but 29 in the middle of the park, the 21-year-old. I thought he was incredible. The goal, went down as an own goal, I think, but still,
he's not happy about that.
I saw that on Twitter. I was like, oh my god, was his goal? Deserved that. It was a great strike to start the game, and then the contribution in the second goal, the step over, the passing, the awareness, tackling as well. Just really good game from him. And 21, only a year older than me. it's so.
And you're taking that from me. I don't actually know his age. I said I think he's about 21. I don't know. Do you know how old he is?
I think he might be a couple of years older than that, actually.
Right. Yeah. Let's not rely on your Uncle Mike for knowledge like that, Josh. That's a very bad road to go down.
I thought you'd know. But no, anyway, it's still so impressive. Such a young player. And you told me about how Buteman was playing there, and he came in. And saying me that he's struggling to get out of the squads, which is really impressive. I did like Ben White as well, the left back. Good pressing on the defence, winning the ball high up and getting those into the forward areas. Just needs to work on the shooting and maybe the confidence to do it as well. But yeah, it was overall really good. Yeah, with those two players. Well,
actually, on that, I jotted down two names, which you've both brilliantly picked. And I actually gave the nod for the pod. That's going to stick. I don't care. That's going to stick. The nod for the pod is going to stick. I gave it to Ben because there was a game earlier in the season where obviously people don't get on players' backs so much, but there was a game, I can't remember who it was against. It might have been Swindon, I think, but where he didn't have the best game in the world, and there were grumbles. And then, as you say, his ex-team came back, had a bit of a point to prove, deserves to be in the side. I mean, they all deserve to be in the side. That's a terrible job that Matt has there. So I'm going to give it with a tiny, tiny margin to Ben White as well, which I know he got the man of the match yesterday anyway. But I'm going to give a tiny margin to Ben White because I don't think he's actually had one this season. So well done, Ben. I'm sure you're listening with bated breath. We're going to very quickly move on to Saturday's match, and joining us now we've got Tom, who is a Oldham supporter for his sins. Hello, Tom.
Right, lads, how you doing?
Right, Tom.
Not bad.
Yes, hello.
So, Tom, tell us a little bit about yourself and your Oldham history. Why you support Oldham?
Well, I'm 38 and I'm young. I started getting into Oldham season roughly 1989 to 1990, which coincided with our cup run when we reached the league final, and we also reached the FA Cup semi-finals. My older brother was going to games, and it caught my attention. He's going to these games to talk about Oldham, show me the games on TV. Then the following season, my dad took me to my first game, which was a Tuesday night. It was at home to, I think it was Leicester. The ground was packed. You couldn't move. We got moved to the side stand. I just caught the bug from that. We got promoted that year. Unfortunately, I wasn't at the game. We won promotion. And the following season, in the last year of the old First Division, that was my first season ticket. Then, obviously, we had 3 years in the top flight. Got relegated to what's now the Championship. And we had 3 years there. We spent many years in League One, and now we're in our fourth season in League Two. And to be fair, fourth or third, it's absolutely shocking at the moment. If you'd asked me 10, 15 years ago, would we be in the same league as Sutton? No disrespect to you, I probably would have laughed, but fair play to you guys. You've fallen, you've climbed up the league, and I know you've got a big history. You've had a lot of cup upsets over the years as well. I remember many years you in the old Ryman, Eastman League. You're always a team that was up there. I think you won promotion in the 90s, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, we were in the conference in the 90s, but same as yourself, if you told one of the Sutton fans 15 years ago they'd be playing in the same league as Oldham, they also would have been laughing at you because it's never been on our radar to be a league club. I
remember a few years ago when you had that big cup run when you beat Leeds and you lost to Arsenal, you had to pass the pitch. I remember your chairman saying at the time that he didn't really think you could afford to go up. And talking to a few of your fans when we played you, they said themselves they did not really expect you to go up, but the fact you had the opportunity to go up, you'd have been stupid to say no to it.
No. Sutton are they're a proper club. The board are a proper board, and they're never going to do anything that's slightly outside the rules. You wouldn't know this, but we had a Surrey Senior Cup match the other night, and we unfortunately played an ineligible player, and it was us that brought it to the attention of the FA and reported ourselves for playing the ineligible player, and we've left the competition. I think we probably knew that was going to happen. So the board and everyone who runs the club, they're proper football people. They're absolutely spot on, which I know Oldham fans probably don't want to hear, based on what you guys have. But I know it's a difficult subject and it's got a lot of tensions, but in a short little thing, can you tell us kind of what's going on at the club?
Right, so obviously I told you about the glory years. We had a chairman called Ian Stock for years. His downfall was when he talked about a proposed merger between Oldham, Rochdale and Bury and Colchester North End. Eventually he went. Around 2002, we had a guy called Chris Moore come in who bought the club. For the first time in a while, we had a chairman who was actually spending money. Obviously, Andy Ritchie got sacked, Ian Dowie come in. Then basically got himself into all the, if you don't mind me swearing, a load of shit and money problems. We took the fall for it. So we ended up in administration. Eventually, we had three New York-based businessmen who were all from England originally buy us out. And at first, they put money into the club. We had a couple of runs with the playoffs. Lost to Blackpool, lost to QPR 1 year, Blackpool. Then when the money dried up, they left it to a guy called Simon Corney. I didn't hate Simon. He kept the club afloat. We didn't get relegated under him. And around 2017, he sold the club to a guy called Abdel Lensman, a businessman from Morocco. I remember seeing him at a friendly against Girona, and I just thought he was someone from Spanish TV at first. Anyway, he come in, and he brought a lot of his own players in. A lad called Quincy Meneg was on loan from Ajax, and by all accounts was on stupid money. We had a keeper called Johnny Placido, who's Haiti's number one. A funny fact about him was, after a week after playing his last game for Oldham, he was playing against Messi in an international friendly for a turn up for the Bucks. Anyway, at first we welcomed this new owner. The idea of fresh investment. I remember going to a game against Everton in the Lancashire Senior Cup. They played their reserves, and we had a lot of these players he brought over. And to be fair, they looked all right. But Sheridan weren't there. A few weeks after, Sheridan got sacked after we played Rotherham and we lost. And his last chance soon was showing these players on. Richie Wellens got the nod, and at first it was brilliant. We had some cracking results under him. We were playing some good football. We had goal scorer Ian Doyle banging them in. Obviously, Doyle got injured. He came back and he wasn't the same player, but cracks started to appear. And there's rumours of staff not being paid, management interference. Eventually, we got relegated, and we shouldn't have done. We were in a strong position. We should have stayed up. It was a game at Gillingham where we give away a stupid last-minute goal, basically. Anyway, Wellens got sacked, and Frankie Bunn came back. For me, I thought, okay, new owner, fresh start. But again, Frankie Bunn was shown the door. He brought all his own players in. There was talk of being told who he could sign, who he could pick. Pete Wild got a job, who was an Oldham youth team coach. And we had a good run. We beat Fulham in the FA Cup, which is funny enough, 3 years ago tomorrow, get mixed up with my date. Then Paul Scholes come in. So at first we thought, great. Paul Scholes is an Oldham fan for years. He was linked with a job. He won his first game, but effectively it was a Pete Wild game. But team, again, he didn't win another game. He was unlucky at times. He had a few late goals, but he looked like a dead man walking. But again, cracks started to appear. Eventually, Scholes left. He claimed interference in the team from Abdullah's brother, Mo, who appointed himself as sporting director, saying that players were being brought in behind his back, contracts given out. For me, that was it. When you're telling a Champions League winner how to run his team, no, you don't do that. Anyway, eventually, Pete Wild come back, took us to the end of the season. We came close to the playoffs. That summer, we brought in a Frenchman called Laurent Banade. First few games weren't that bad. Weren't good. He seemed to get it right, and then he got sacked, and Dino Masalo, who's at Burton, got the job. Then, obviously, we had hit and miss. He started to get things right. COVID happened. He got sacked, and Harry Kewell come in. Kewell started off slow, but with Kewell giving me to do, we had some entertaining football. We were scoring goals for fun, but we had no defence. In the meantime, David Wheaton got banished to the youth team. Basically, to Slope, he refused. Probably the furlough was they won't pay him all the money he was owed. Eventually, got paid off last year. Chewell got sacked around about January, February, and Keith Curl come in. We had a cracking player called Dylan Bambula, which has probably been the most successful players, the French lads, we call them, Abdullah and Mo, have brought in. Basically, after Curl came in, his performances have dipped. Obviously, we stayed up last year. Again, this summer, Curl was left in charge. I thought, okay, first time since 2017 we've got a manager. But the football at times has been appalling. We've had transfer embargoes placed on us, money owed to other clubs. We've got an ongoing issue with our ground. We don't own it. We've got a North Stand that's owned by our previous owners. And it's like he's been threatening to go to court by all accounts, not paid money in time. It's just an ongoing scenario. And what I'll do is later on, I'm going to show you a link. It's got a timeline of everything that's happened. If I was to tell you everything about it, I'd be here all night. But right now, it's probably a depressing time to be an Oldham fan. And it's bad because everyone talks about our cup runs. Everyone talks about the good years we've had. And we admit we're not a massive club. We've just had a bit of history. We're surrounded by big clubs in the area. We've seen what's happened to Bury and Macclesfield. We don't want that to happen to us either.
Yeah, I mean, you probably saw Andy and myself as some of the things you were saying there, like the boardroom interference and all that kind of stuff, just going, huh? What? Literally the only interference I think our chairman would do with the club is when Matt says he needs a player or two, he'd be like, no, you don't. You've got enough. It's fine. He doesn't want. He's very careful with the books. He doesn't spend money that we haven't got. So for us, it's just bizarre. And one thing I wanted to say to Oldham fans is obviously we knew about the protests and we knew about different things going on. And in the back of my mind, I don't know if Andy is the same. In the back of my mind, when we had our first home match against you guys, it was our first ever home match in the Football League. And I did kind of think, I get the protest and I get why people are protesting, but I was like, I hope they don't do anything to spoil our big day.
Right,
you guys didn't. You guys were.
One thing about Oldham is our protests are at our owners. And people are like, oh yeah, we're going to do this at away fans. We'll be vocal, we'll be critical, but we're not going to put ourselves in a position where we're going to ruin your day. Yeah. Every Oldham fan went to Sutton. What amazed me is, again, they've announced a Harrogate ticket plan today. Any other year would have filled out that away and it wouldn't have even made general sale. One, because we've got good away support. Two, it's a new ground. I've done a lot of ground hopping. You see, I've never actually been to Sutton yet, but people that even didn't want to go to games went to that one as well. And we've got a good core of Oasis lads, Oldham supporters in the south. So basically, we're looking forward to it as well. Obviously, again, not disrespectful to you, it's a bit of a stark reality of what we expect if we end up in the National League next season. But the protests have really stepped up this season. When we went to Orient, a lot of their fans showed solidarity with us. They made their feelings known in their end, which was really good because they, like Oldham, have been through the crap in the last few years. Obviously, a lot of it is stemmed from Push the Boundary. I think if COVID hadn't happened, these protests would have started a lot sooner. We've got a group called Push the Boundary. We've got a trust, and in recent years, the trust has become sort of non-existent. They've not challenged the board of directors. We've had new, fresh bodies on it, and they, alongside Push the Boundary now, are taking the fight to these owners. They've got involved more with like the supporters groups. They're basically saying to the EFL, look, this is what's happening now. And more people now, I can't honestly say, even people that were pro-Abdullah now, apart from one or two, what we call idiots or the special breed, most people now want these guys out. And it's sad because I'm seeing mates now who would have never missed a game years ago, not going. Even me, there's a time I'd have been up in arms about missing a game. Now I'm like, well, don't want to. We lost to Wigan last night. It's not the fact we lost to a high division team. We weren't expected probably to win. It's the manner in which we lost. We've had 2 games, Barrow and Hartlepool, and we've rested key players, but then they've thrown them in last night, and then to just get absolutely slaughtered. It defies, but it's as if staying up's now becomes secondary to them.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny you mentioned Leighton Orient because I think that's actually a really good example of. I mean, they went through very, very similar things to what you guys are going through at the moment, and weirdly enough, them going down into the National League almost allowed them to clear the decks. They got a change in ownership. Everything, basically the unscrupulous owners they had before disappeared. They realised, we're not a league club anymore. We're not interested. We got out. They got better owners in, and 2 seasons later they were back up. And now, to be honest, they're going to be one of those clubs that I would say have absolutely no fear at all of ever being close to being relegated to non-league again. It's almost like sometimes you've almost got to take a hit, take a step backwards to go 2 steps forward. And I mean, I was saying this when I was a supporter last night. This is a completely different scenario, but I'm sure you'll kind of get the idea. We got relegated from the Conference South in 2008. I think we won 5 games all season. We were absolutely terrible. But that relegation itself was the triggering point for the whole series of events that's actually led us to be a league team again. So actually going down to a division that we should never have been in, actually allowed Paul Doswell to come in, start building the club up again. Club took a completely different attitude on how they approach things. It wasn't the same old. It gave a whole new perspective, and we just went on the up and the up and the up. So, go on.
What you're saying is right, because when we got relegated in League One, I won't lie, I should have been up in arms in relegation. At that time, I had a few personal problems. So went into that game, not really mindful. But what I said was, League 2 football, okay, it's the owner's first new season in charge, fresh start, let's do it. Let's start from scratch, let's go up. Unfortunately, it's completely backfired. What you're saying is, a step back can be a good thing. And for Leyton Orient, it's done well. But then we look at other clubs. Stockport went down. They had fan ownership. They went down again. York City. Look at Wrexham, where they are. It took Grimsby how many years to get back up, and they've gone back down. In some circumstances, yes, it can work. Now, if we go down, we've got brand new owners, people with footballing mentality, footballing brain. By all means, that would be good. Fans would accept that step back. I'd still much rather preserve our 126-year history in this division, because you missed out on the funding. You get youth team level, so you get exposure. Yeah, people say we may be on BT Sport more. All right, I don't want to be playing Friday night games at 5 o'clock away to Dover. I know with the big vision there. I'm also worried under these owners we'll go down even more, because then that's not to stop them saying, hang on, let's make us part-time then. Let's not stay full-time. And wages has been an issue. It was an issue in the past, but to be fair to Simon Corney, he always found a way of paying them. Like you said about the owner balancing the books, Simon was sort of like that, but unfortunately, there was not enough ambition from him. He was happy to just preserve being around League 1, and that's why fans got frustrated and welcomed this guy. If we do go down, our fans will still support him. The question is, what's going on at the moment? Will we still have a club to support? People have talked about getting a Phoenix club anyway. For me, that has to be the very, very last resort. I went to FC United the other week with some United lads, God bless, wash my mouth with soap out from work. And fair, I had a good laugh. And fair play to these guys. They've missed going to Barcelona and places, but I've just looked who they played, and the team they played was a mate's team, Ashton. And I'm thinking, but you've got no away support. It's a one-way atmosphere. I'd still rather go to these places like yourselves while you're in the Football League. I'd rather go, as much as it's a total sport, your Colchester. I want to play your likes of Bolton, your Portsmouths. And no disrespect, we'll go to places like Altrincham, we'll go to Bromley, but they're not quite the same in the fact only 2 teams get promoted and you can finish second and still not go up in the playoffs. It's not ideal for you. Obviously, promotion has to be earned. No team has a demand right to be where they are and all that lot. For me, I like seeing new teams come up all this, so we shouldn't be playing Sutton, we shouldn't be playing Fleetwood Forest Green. Regardless of how we are, they're there because of what we've done. We are here because we are. Get over it. But it doesn't mean you have to be over the moon about it, if you understand where I'm coming from.
No, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, jumping back to the game, we had our first win up to 88 minutes. We were there. 88 minutes on the clock. We were almost celebrating our first win, and then you guys come and scored 2 goals.
That was an absolute mad 6 minutes that day. You battered us. And do you know what? I said that day is what let you down was you needed a striker, someone that could put the ball in the back of the net, and you weren't scoring. And what's funny is I celebrated that game that well. During lockdown, I bought some football magazines off eBay. My mate collects them down south. Celebrated, got up to Birmingham Services and thought, shit, I've left them on the turnstile somewhere. message your club and no one handed them in. So someone's got a nice collection of the blizzards somewhere. But we come out of that game thinking, where did them 6 minutes of madness come from? Because we did nothing all game. It was like a lot of our fans walked out at half time. We were that bad. And I really don't like walking out of a game, especially a newer one. And I just come out of the game thinking, wow, it's like that 6 minutes. And we needed that at the time because we needed that little boost. And I felt for you guys because you really played well that day. And I was talking to a few of your fans in the pub afterwards and said, if you get a striker in, you won't just stay up, you'll climb the table. And that's what you've gone and done. And you've had some good results.
Yeah. I mean, in essence, it was a bad result for us. But actually, I do think it has focused some mind to be a bit more professional in certain aspects of holding the ball. It doesn't always happen, but just certain little games, not almost gamesmanship, to be professional in our attitude, because we were a non-league club for a long, long time. So just the little things like the keeper holding onto the ball for a bit longer than absolutely necessary, that lovely little dive onto the ball when there's no one around, and all these kind of things. I think we've learned a little bit from some of the games that we lost, which we should have won.
You're never going to get great quality football. You're going to get, like, Forest Green at the moment. It's been good the last couple of years. Cheltenham, Newport, a few seasons back. You will get a team that plays good football. But a lot of teams in this league, you just need a giant cart horse up front. They'll hoof the ball, they'll score one goal, and they'll just sit back and defend. And then every now and again, you'll get a team that plays football. But I said this at Bradford. We played well. We got a late equaliser, and then we let a late goal in. And I said, we'll go to a team this year. We will be shockingly bad, but we'll get the win. And that's what we did with you. Obviously, I didn't go to Stevenage at home this year. Most people said that was our best win this year. Rochdale, we won, but we grafted. We weren't anything special. Port Vale was another one. We got lucky, but we got the win. Sometimes you need that bit of luck. But fans still, when we want this good quality football, you want it, but most of the time, it's not. But what you want to see is your players trying, putting the effort in, chase the game. We don't do that enough. We either score and then sit back, or we leave it, too late. We've got a lot of young players, and some of the better players are not being played. He's picking and choosing when he wants to. So he's setting himself up for a draw. When you're rock bottom of the National League, you don't want that. You need to do what you can to get out of there. Absolutely. People accept. I look at Derby at the moment. Okay, they're a bigger club. They're in the shit. They've got no money, but they're still battling. They've not thrown the towel in yet.
Yeah. Well, on talking about the results, I'm going to just ask you guys for a prediction. So, who wants to go first with a prediction?
I'll go first. And I'm going to say, after that defeat the other night, I'm hoping I've had a kick up the arse. I'm hoping Salim's gone, but if he's not, and he genuinely wants to make a name for his manager, and we're struggling to score for goals, I'm going to go for a sneaky 2-1 Oldham.
Lovely.
And you guys take the lead again.
Joshy, do you want to give a go?
Yeah.
Josh?
Yeah. I mean, you're saying that Oldham aren't really scoring at the moment. I think 2-0 Sutton.
2-0 Sutton, okay.
2-0 Sutton.
Our home form is dreadful, and I've said for days I'm going to do this. I want to look since 2000 how many home games we've actually won, and I reckon the percentage is going to be shocking. But the thing is, more predictions, what's the crowd going to be? Because the crowd figures have been saying, I used to work turnstiles, and you could not get away with having one single ticket or number wrong. But nowadays, some of the crowds they're declaring have been silly. Now, it's just a case of how many fans are going to be protesting outside. That's the thing. I think it's at the stage now where a lot of fans have just had enough. Obviously, you read that they tried banning a few of our fans the other week. They were hardcore. They don't like the way they're being criticised now, but I'm used to be called Mr. Positive, Mr. Optimistic. You can't get all excited now. So, again, I won't be surprised if I see more pitch invasions. I've not heard anything, but I just don't be surprised.
Okay. Andy, I know you love giving predictions.
Oh, I hate them.
Oh, he's frozen. I know.
Well,
you could
obviously, I mean, yeah, we know that. Well, I mean, our worst home record in the league out of any club this season, obviously. But that doesn't necessarily mean a thing. We've got a Sutton team that is thin on the ground because who will be quite tired, doing a long away trip in weather conditions that are going to look appalling.
Welcome to paradise.
Against the bottom of the league. I think exactly. I mean, I am going to predict an Oldham win because I just think it's going to be all of those bizarre combinations. The wind's going to pick up, rain's going to come in. We're going to have players playing out of position, and we're going to be knackered from the last couple of outings. So I'm going to predict an Oldham win, and if it's not an Oldham win and it's a Sutton win, then I'm going to be happy whichever way around it goes.
The thing with our squad is at the moment we've got a shoestring squad. We've got injuries. We've had this embargo. We've not been able to bring anyone in really. We've played a lot of kids' hands. We've played a full festive fixtures. We've had no COVID cases. So everyone else may have had a week off or a day off. We haven't. We've kept on playing. And that's going to be the other key factor. Unless we bring anyone in beforehand, there's rumours
I think
players are training with us.
You've been the only club in the division that has. I think. I don't think any other. I think every other club has had COVID cases apart from you guys. We
had an issue early in the season, and the games didn't called off. Now at the moment, the way we're playing, if you're a club, even with COVID cases, you're probably thinking, do you know what? While Oldham are on a downer, let's play them. Let's just get them before they can bring bodies. And that's how. If I was another manager, I'd be looking at it that way. There's always a right and a wrong time to play a team, I say. And you look at teams at the moment like Carlisle seems to be picking up and Scunthorpe. So you don't really want to be playing them now, where a few weeks ago you just snapped your hand off to play them.
Well,
but then how many teams have scored 5 against Forest Green?
Not many.
Yeah,
exactly.
What's the irony of that is that was the game when we were encouraging to, like, we had to pack the park against Port Vale, where we were told to empty the park. So I went watching Altrincham that day with some Carlisle friends, and actually had an in-play bet on us to draw. So I think I think about 25 quid I got back eventually from that game. But I did think about having in-play bet, which is where I win most of my money, whether it be the top teams or the lower teams. But the thing with Forest Green, I take that. I look at that as, oh, hang on, we've shown we can come up against teams at the top. We've shown we can get back into games. We've shown we can fight. The thing with Oldham is we're the most consistent at being inconsistent. That's how Oldham have always been. Like, we'll go and beat a team at the top normally, and then we'll lose the bottom team. This year, we're just showing no consistency whatsoever. It's like we're scrapping the results together, if you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, my wonderful machine learning, perfect computer programming system, which is called Football Manager, has gone on holiday mode, and it said it's a 2-2 draw. So I'm going to go with that because that's worked out all right for me so far this season. I'm going to.
Do you want the football web pages prediction?
Go on in. No, not
Let's have a look. Well, actually, the football web pages prediction is Oldham 2, Sutton 2.
Well, hey, look at that. I genuinely got it from Football Manager. I didn't even know about this.
One thing I've looked in the past about football, whether it be Oldham, I have said after teams have a very bad result, and I'm taking ours last night, they do often follow it up with a good result. I've seen it happen so many times. Just like if you look at the FA Cup this weekend, there will be an upset. But then you look at the next game after the league, when the Reds are on a high, they'll probably lose it. But then I've seen teams get thrashed and then turn it around the next game and go and get something. So the world of football can be like that at times.
Yeah, it's the human psyche as well. You just want to go and prove a point.
And I've said this for a long time. I know Sutton are running away with it, but anyone on their day can beat anyone in this division. That's the thing. None of the players are hardly millionaires. A lot of them are just players who are playing football, who've ended up whether they've dropped down a league or come up from the non-league. And apart from Forest Green this year, you guys are all right, but I've not seen anyone that's really caught my attention and made me think, wow, they're a good football team. Port Vale, maybe so, yeah, but nothing that was like really fantastic.
Lovely. Okay, gents, I think we've gone on for long enough. I'm going to wrap it up there. Have anyone got any final thoughts? Josh?
I just hope it's a good game. Okay. I know, and I hope the troubles at Oldham improve. I mean, the fans definitely deserve to have something positive, except for COVID cases. But yeah, I mean, hopefully it's right. All right. I mean, I would say I'm a United fan, Man United fan. So
that don't go down well in our
I've seen my club recently have I'll say protests. I know they weren't happy with the board and everything like that, but I think it's much different to what Oldham's situation is, and it's not even a different league to it. It's your guys is about survival, and you said about York. They went down to the National League and they've kept going down. I remember we played them, and we were there and thinking, oh my god, York, big club at the time. They've just come down.
York been down, come back up, and then went back down. It's like my mate's a Newcastle fan. He was gone about Mike Ashley, and I went, yeah, I know it's frustrating for you, but we'd gladly take your spot to predicaments where we are now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like I say, good luck to you guys. Apart from on Saturday, I don't mind seeing teams come up and new teams do well. Whether you go up this year, personally, I'm not sure, but who knows? It's one of the league's so wide open after the top team. Anyone can beat anyone. So
yeah. And Andy, any thoughts from you? You're not obliged, don't worry.
Yeah, again, I really hope the troubles with Oldham kind of just if things get better. You're a good, decent side. I still remember Frankie Bunn scoring his 6 goals in the League Cup. And things like that. Yeah. So there's a lot of us that have got very positive memories. There's actually, I know at least 1 or 2 Sutton supporters whose second team, weirdly enough. I'm not quite sure the story behind that one. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, you guys stay up. Stevenage can go down in your place. That's fine.
I think it's what Joe Royal did with Oldham. The way they caught everyone's attention that year, he built a team. Joe Royal, the story is he arrived at Oldham on the back of a lorry when his car had broken down. There's a good book about it called This Is How It Feels by Mike Keegan. Read it from the store. And he just built this team up. He knew the reserve system at Leeds, Man United, Man City and Everton better than he did. And the stories about how he got players for bargains. Eventually, City turned around and say, no, we'll have this much for this player, because he knew what he was like. And he turned these players into an attacking team. His attitude, you score one, we'll score another one. People said we had the plastic pitch, but then once we're in the top flight, that plastic pitch went. And a lot of those cup games, especially the ones away from home, were on grass, where they chant, we can win on grass too. And I think that's why people like Joe Royal, they talk about your Frankie Bunns, your Andy Riches, your Roger Palmers, these players going to holler. We had some great days, and that's just why it's for not so much the younger element, for the older fans like me who saw these games, how it's just seeing how bad it's got.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Echo the other guys. Hopefully things will turn a corner for you. I will be tagging you in when the podcast goes live. So if you could just pop that link you were talking about into the comments, people will be obviously able to read all that as well.
By all means,
Everyone, if you want to join in the chat, it's at Sutton Podcast. There will be a poll with that great big debate whether it should be the midweek treat or the midweek social. And thank you for listening. Thank you guys for your time, and we'll see you all again soon. Thank you.
Yeah, therefore, good luck lads, again apart from Saturday. See you later.
Cheers.
United! 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 United!